Thank you for tuning in to today's homework help video about making a claim and supporting it with evidence. Today in English class we read an article about e-cigarettes, and I asked the question to you, are e-cigarettes as harmful as tobacco cigarettes? Now, in the beginning of English class today, I asked the question, how many of you know somebody who smokes cigarettes? Almost every single hand in English class went up, and I asked the question, are they safe? And everybody said no. They're not safe, they're harmful for your health, and you gave me lots of evidence and lots of reasons why. And then I asked the question, how many of you know somebody who smokes e-cigarettes? Not quite as many hands went up, but a lot of you do know people who smoke e-cigarettes. And then I asked the question, are they safe? And many people weren't sure. Some people said yes, some people said no, some people said they didn't know. And that led us into our article that we read. Now, before we started reading, we reviewed selective highlighting that we've discussed in English class so far. And the purpose of highlighting is to make sure that all the facts and evidence are used to support each side of the argument are highlighted. And that lets the keywords and phrases jump out at you. You want to make sure that you highlight only the keywords and phrases, not whole sentences or paragraphs, because otherwise your eyes aren't going to catch them. So I read aloud the article to you, and you selectively annotated and highlighted the article as you read it. And then I asked the question, are e-cigarettes as harmful as tobacco cigarettes? And after reading that article, we got a little bit more insight into this question. Now that is your prompt. Are e-cigarettes as harmful as tobacco cigarettes? You want to make sure that you choose a side, that you are clear, that you are strong, and that you are specific. It's not good to say they might be good, but they might be bad. You want to make sure that you are clearly on one side or the other for that argument. Then you're ready for your claim. When you write your claim, do not say, I think that e-cigarettes are harmful, or don't say, I feel that e-cigarettes are not as harmful. Leave you out of it. Just say, e-cigarettes are as harmful as tobacco cigarettes, or e-cigarettes are not as harmful as tobacco cigarettes. When proofreading your essay, if you happen to see that you've used I think or I feel, all you have to do is just simply erase it or put one line through the phrase and make sure that you correct your capitalization, and everything will be okay. So in order to help develop your claim, you want to look over the evidence that you've highlighted as you read and find the three most important, strongest pieces of evidence that support your claim. You're probably going to have a lot more than three things highlighted, three pieces of evidence highlighted. So you want to go through and just double check all of them and see which are the three strongest, which are the three best pieces of evidence. And those are going to be the three pieces of evidence that you use when you're filling out your graphic organizer and when you're writing your essay. Now you want to make sure that these pieces of evidence connect together somehow. They shouldn't be completely fragmented and completely separate, because even though they're three separate pieces of evidence, you want to make sure they connect into one cohesive essay. Also, they shouldn't be repetitive. You shouldn't have the exact same thing stated 3 times in a row, just in different wording. So if you happen to see that two pieces of evidence are extremely, extremely similar to each other, you might be better off picking something else. And then lastly, you want to make sure that you can explain it in your own words. Sometimes you'll come across something that you feel is very important, but you might not completely understand it, so you might not be able to explain it in your own words. If that's the case, again, you might be better off picking something else, because in addition to quoting and citing the information, you want to make sure that you can explain it in your own words as well. So this was the graphic organizer that we passed out, and at the top you see a space for your claim, where you're going to write your claim. In the middle, the detail 1 with the page, that's where you cite it and write it. Basically just put down the page number that you got it on, page 1, 2, 3, or 4, and you write out the detail word for word in quotation marks right on that blank right there in the middle of the page where it says detail 1, detail 2, detail 3. Now, just citing it and writing quotes, that's a start, but that's not enough. You want to make sure that you analyze the details and explain them in your own words. And that's what those spaces at the bottom of the graphic organizer are for. Now, we discussed this in class, but I just want to make sure that everybody understands where it says analyzing details. Make sure that you expand on it in your own words. Don't just simply restate it. Make sure that you connect it to your claim, develop it a little bit further, explain it more clearly. That's what analyzing is. Okay, so for this example, I have the claim e-cigarettes are just as harmful as tobacco cigarettes and should be regulated. You see that that claim is very clear, very specific. I've taken a clear stance, a clear side, and I haven't used the word I think or I feel. So that's all the claim is. That's what your claim should look like, something similar to that. Or if you're on the other side, e-cigarettes are not as harmful. And then we want to turn your graphic organizer into an essay. After you've filled out your graphic organizer, you want to start with the introductory paragraph. Now, in English class so far, we've already discussed topic sentences and how to develop and write those. You want to make sure that you introduce the articles and the author's names right in the beginning of your introduction after that topic sentence. You address the counter argument. So for this example, I'd say, although this author thinks that e-cigarettes are not as harmful as tobacco cigarettes, it's clear that they are very harmful for a variety of reasons. That's all addressing the counter argument is. You just need one sentence for that. And then you state your claim, and that comes directly from your graphic organizer. So for this example, I've used, for my detail 1, I found it on page 1. It's a quote that says 16 million children can legally buy e-cigs. They can give themselves as much nicotine as they want. Now I copied that exactly word for word from page 1. And when it comes time for analyzing details, I put it in my own words by saying that other things that contain nicotine, like cigarettes and patches, are regulated, so e-cigarettes should be too. Now, I might expand on that even more when I connect it to my essay, but that's at least the start that I'm going to use. I put it in my own words, I explained that quote, and I showed why the fact 16 million children can legally buy e-cigarettes. I showed why that is harmful for health. So for your body paragraphs, each of your details from your graphic organizer are going to follow the exact same format. You start with a topic sentence where you either introduce something or you transition from one paragraph to the next. Then you cite it and write it. You basically copy down everything from that middle box where you have already written the quote. You explain it in your own words. So again, you're copying that analyzing details box, and you may need to expand on that if you need to. And then lastly, what you need is a closing sentence where you either wrap up that paragraph or you transition into the next thought. So in the coming slides, I'll show you how to do that. So this is an example of a body paragraph that I wrote using the example that I showed you before. It says, one of the major reasons why e-cigarettes are so harmful is because children can legally buy them. Sarah Miloff says 16 million children can legally buy e-cigs. They can give themselves as much nicotine as they want, and it's cited on page 1. This shows that a tremendous amount of children can become nicotine addicts, which can be harmful for their health and may lead them to smoke tobacco cigarettes as well. Other things that contain nicotine, such as cigarettes and nicotine replacement patches, are regulated, so e-cigarettes should be too. So that's my first body paragraph, and then you see the transition there into the next body paragraph, another reason why, and you continue on and you just follow the exact same format using detail 2. So there you see my topic sentence, the very first sentence of the paragraph. The next sentence is where I cite it and write it. I've cited the author's name, used quotes, copied word for word, and at the end, in parentheses, I've said the page number that I received that information from. Then I put it in my own words, And a great way to put it in your own words is by using that phrase, this shows that, or this means that. It's a great way to put it in your own words. And then lastly, I've connected everything together, wrapped it up, and I've transitioned into the next paragraph. So those are the 4 sentences or 4 parts to writing a body paragraph. I hope that this video was helpful for you, and I'm looking forward to reading all of your essays tomorrow when you turn this in. If you happen to have any further questions, please feel free to email me, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you very much for tuning in again, and I hope you have a great night.